dude.
Cause like,
Let's just chill in my on my tatami mat here.
cause like, how do you bow? There's me
It's down.
Down. Oh, okay. Cause like, guys who study this shit, it's like lots of respect to them because that's a lot of time invested when you also have to have a day job.
Well, not all of them have day jobs. I'll just put that in there right now.
or some of it is their day job, which, well, what a dream, right? But
I guess. Dude, you have dream jobs, man. Are you kidding?
That's
you
true.
You just made like a movie just because you felt like it, like, and you ended up getting a combat designer job for it. Like, instead of actually even going into animation, you got to tell the animators what to do.
That is true. That was my job, to be like
incredible.
To be like, hey, make this kick, and they're like, okay. Or actually, at Midway we would do motion capture, and it was pretty cool to go into the motion capture studio and be like, all right, I want this sword attack to be this, this, and this.
Oh yeah.
And design docs are pretty fun. That was my job, was writing up.
Oh dude, I'm so jealous.
It was writing up PowerPoint documentation.
I have so many design docs that I have I have to
you
send nobody.
I'll read it, dude. That's crazy. It's like
Oh, I'm so jealous.
Man, you love game design so much. How come you're not doing it? Or is it you're trying to do it?
I mean, how can I get there? You know, like I figured this was kind of my way to to kind of get my name out there, get my ideas out there. You know what I mean?
Well, you're on your way. I mean, okay. I worked with a lot of combat designers who just started off as testers, so they they demonstrate the ability to play and understand.
Because I can animate, like I'm too prideful to go through QA. You know?
No, don't do that, because it's not only game players, mad respect, they got a lot of talent, but I've been among, like, I don't know what it is, like why people have egos about one or the other, but like I've been among game designers who like talk about QA like it's like, oh, they're just QA. It's like, yeah, but
dude, game designer is like QA level 2.
Yeah, exactly. So which is weird because a lot of the game designers I've worked with were ex-QA guys.
Yeah.
So that's one way to get in, but I wouldn't recommend that for you because it's just it's not worth it. Especially if you've got animation skill. Here's something I would do if I wanted to break into game design.
Okay.
I would make
bowing.
I would make a movie called Make This Game, and I would animate a game as if it looked like gameplay footage. And then break down the states and such. Like, my dream game would be Ninja Gaiden multiplayer, right? You know, I mean, I look at fighting games and all the depth and such, and I'm like, Ninja Gaiden is like on its way, but moving farther from translating all this stuff, all the frame data, all this canceling and states and stuff from fighting games into something that isn't restricted on a 2D axis, isn't something where it's one-on-one, face-to-face. I would love to make like a Ninja Gaiden multiplayer where it's a fighting game that you play from, whatever angle, and it has like, all the depth of, like, Ninja Gaiden 2 didn't evolve the way I thought compared to Ninja Gaiden 1, which is like one of my favorite games of all time.
Okay.
Right? And like, if I wanted to absolutely make something, I would make a video called Make This Game, and it would be the in and out of what the design was, and say, hey, game studios, here's a design for a game. This is what I think it should be. And if you have faith that your design is awesome, someone's going to pick it up and say, oh, this guy has good ideas, and then just be like, okay, you can have this design, but I want to be on the team. And that's it. I would totally do that if I wanted to get back into game design or had the time to do it. But God, who has time these days? I have so many vids I want to do. You know what? An idea I had for April Fools.
Okay.
I want to take MVC3, right?
All right.
Use X23's level 3 where she turns invisible.
Yep.
And then replace her with and animate a character into the game as if it was an April Fool's joke.
Oh, that's so smart.
Right? Just have her do the hits and have the other guy do the hit reacts and animate like Leon Kennedy or something into the game.
Yeah.
I already have ideas for a move. Like, his super would be he'd do like a knife combo, and then from behind him out of nowhere a set of hallway lasers would show up and he'd dodge it in a cool manner, but it would hit the other guy. Wouldn't that be awesome?
That would be really cool.
But it'd be such an awesome April Fool's joke because I could like animate it to look legitimately like MVC3, and then Capcom would have to go through denial process, say, no, we didn't make this. Who the fuck is this? And then everyone would be like, oh, Monty Oum made it. Wait, that was some pretty good design. That's actually, we should maybe put him in. Yeah, but other than the fact they already have 3 Resident Evil characters, but you know.
Oh,
But
dude, are you sure you want me to release this video at this point? That's a really good idea, dude.
I would do it if I had time. So that's about as far as this idea is gonna get out there. I would really do it if I had time. But wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah, I mean, like, I have a lot of ideas like that and stuff too. Like, at one point for like FrameAdvantage.com, like I was for an April Fool's joke, I was gonna have, you know how you can set YouTube videos to like private or whatever. So I was gonna upload like 1,000,000 Mortal Kombat matches.
Yeah.
And then like set as private, and then on April 1st set all my existing videos to private, and then switch it, so it looks like my entire channel is devoted to Mortal Kombat. The thing is, like, now Mortal Kombat is like legitimate, so it's like not a joke anymore. So it's like, crap, I can't do this anymore.
And I had that invisibility idea back in SF4 actually. I was like, I should put Ibuki back in the game.
Oh,
because
jeez.
there's a mission mode where you play as invisible, right? And I'm like, oh shit, I could put Ibuki, I could animate some hit reacts and then use the invisible character and animate Ibuki back in the game. I was actually telling this idea to a guy at, I think, a Capcom booth the other, like that year at Comic-Con, and they're like, yeah, that's a great idea, but I can't confirm nor deny anything about Ibuki. And then lo and behold, SF Super 4 comes out, and it's like, hey, look, here's Ibuki. Like, okay, there goes my idea. watch someone. I swear, maybe he took my idea. Nah, that's not true.
No, but see, like, I hate that so much. Like you, like we discussed this before. Like Ninja Gaiden 1 on the Xbox was like one of my favorite games of all time, and I really, really wanted to make a multiplayer, right? Yeah. But then I thought of the first gut reaction that I had was like, oh, just make it like turn into like a fighting game, except with like a free camera. It'd be awesome. But actually, I think that wouldn't work. Yeah. And because like the thing about Ryu Hayabusa's moves in that game is like they feel so great. Like if you think about like the quintessential Ryu move is like the Azuna drop.
Right.
And
right.
It'll kill any like humanoid opponent in one shot, like on most difficulties. But the thing is, if you do that to your like a friend and it doesn't kill him, it'll be like, oh, that's kind of weird, or you know, whatever.
I guess.
So but like my idea was like, okay, we can make it so like there are computer-controlled opponents, you know, like Dota, and then they're all like fighting over like these contested areas, and then like they're human-controlled like super soldiers basically, and it's like a strategy type of thing where you go and you push and you like, and you know you can change the tide of the battle. So it'll simultaneously make the thing so much bigger in scope, add like a higher level strategic element, but maintain both like player versus player combat and like player versus environment combat. And then I realized like after a month, I was like, holy shit, that's just Dynasty Warriors. Fuck. And I felt like an idiot. Like.
Well, I mean, I think there are specifics that separate the two. So like, I mean, I think Ninja Gaiden's just straight up tight. Like it's so responsive and it's just got a great moveset. I think one of the problems with translating into multiplayer especially is like Ryu has what, 8 weapons? That's literally like 8 characters, you know?
Oh dude, no, that's great though. Because,
I know,
like, you can select them just like classes. People love selecting classes and unlocking perks and stuff like that.
I know, that's definitely true. It's like, especially for FPSs, it's like your character is your gun more than But I mean, when Sigma 2 comes about and they put in Momiji, it's like, man, you get 1 weapon. You know, it's like, but there's a better example. It's when DMC3, the one with Virgil, came out, and Virgil was a deep character. It's like he wasn't just a tag on; he actually had some legitimately good gameplay.
Yeah, if he had like 1 extra stance, it would have been nice.
I know, right? Yeah. But DMC3, sweet game. I don't know what they're doing with DMC5 or whatever, but DMC3 was pinnacle of DMC. I know you play it because I've heard you mention it a few times.
Wait. So you think DMC3 is a better game than DMC1?
You know, I did play DMC1 so long ago, I cannot remember.
Like, do you remember having to press triangle to jump in DMC1?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
The game convention of pressing the bottom-most button to jump, that wasn't around back then, you know? It's like, true. Oh, okay, we have an action that makes your character go upward. Let's just put it on the highest space button. I guess it makes sense.
So, well, I mean, which do you think is the better?
Okay, I'll tell you what. DMC3, especially Special Edition, the one with Virgil, that has the best move set of any.
Oh my god, totally
incredible.
Yeah, no shit.
I mean, that's like not even worth arguing.
The day I've realized you could switch weapons mid-combo, I was like, oh my god, this is a whole nother level, right?
See, the thing is, though, and DMC3, I think the story was actually the best told of the DMC, and the cutscenes and the acting was the best of the series.
Yep.
But the what killed it, well, like, I mean, didn't kill it. It's one of my favorite games. What really stuck out with like a sore thumb was the enemy design. It was just fucking awful. Like straight up. Like, are you gonna you're seriously gonna have me hit chess pieces for like 5 hours straight? Like, are you serious?
Right.
Like, oh, here's blood goils. I got a million awesome weapons, but blood goils, I just need to shoot them the whole time. Like, are you serious? And like, and don't even get me started on like enigmas and stuff like that. And it's like, oh, this is ridiculous. And like the stupid archers.
Right. That is true.
DMC1 had great, memorable enemies.
You know, you're absolutely right about that. It's weird. I don't even consider that because it's funny because when I was at Namco, I worked as combat designer for enemies.
Oh, nice. That's such a good job. I'm so jealous. You have the perfect job, dude. Well, you had the perfect job.
I had the perfect job. Long story. Long story. Let me cry for a bit. No, it's not crying. But I came back.
Nice.
Anyways, dude, when I joined Namco, it was awesome. It was really awesome. I did the long nights and everything, and the whole time I was doing Dead Fantasy 3 through 5. Wow, you're like sliding while crying. That was crazy. But the game I worked on was called Afro Samurai.
Oh, you worked on that? Oh, dude, that had some cool ideas in it, dude.
Right. Yeah, man. You see the new Metal Gear coming out? They totally ripped off Afro Samurai's cutting mechanic. Did you play Afro Samurai?
Yeah, I didn't. Right. I didn't play it all the way through. I played it at my friend's house.
God, there was some pretty interesting enemies that I didn't work on that were impossible to beat. But I have to say, my enemies were awesome. I did the ninjas,
nice,
and I did Kuma, the guy with the bear head.
Oh god, that's so cool that you have that guy on your resume. That is so cool.
Not only that, right? Okay, here's the gist of the story. Joined Afro Samurai about, I think, 8 months before the game was due to ship, so they're already in crunch. I joined in on the team, and there's this new scripting system. I'm like, oh my god, 5 months ago I was working in Unreal 3 with like, state machines attached, through grids and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I joined Namco, and their scripting system is being done in like text format, like Excel.
Yeah. At my work, that's how we do ours too.
Right. So I'm like, this is completely foreign to me. So I'm like, oh my god, how am I gonna learn this? And I toiled in it for like 3 months, and then eventually I became the master of it. I was like, oh my god, this system's awesome. Screw Unreal Engine 3. I love this system. This system has so many possibilities. You probably do this. You probably think the same way. It's like, oh my god, I can do so many things with this, right?
Yeah.
So by the time 3 months in, I start kicking ass on the system, and I'm doing long nights, and people start seeing things show up in the engine that they had not only wasn't designed in initially, but was really, really cool, And they're like, oh my god, this stuff is awesome. Look what he did over the weekend. And then soon enough, they start putting me on boss. Like, they started me off with like low-level characters, like the giants with the clubs and the guys carrying muskets who didn't even do much aside from stand and shoot.
Yeah.
3 months in, I'm starting to take up boss fights. I did the Afro droid fight and the Kuma fight, and it's like, man, this guy isn't stopping. So by the time crunch comes about, suddenly characters are like way more fleshed out than they were originally thought to have time for. They're like, oh, Monty's kicking ass. And so they promote me to lead combat designer by the end of the project. Wow. So like, Monty, when Afro 2 comes out, you're going to be in charge of combat. And I'm like, oh, that's great. I can't wait. And then and like we go into crunch. I mean, when we finish crunch, we ship the game. Everyone's like, oh, thank God. And I'm like, why you? And they're like all ready to take vacation. And I just dove right back in the engine and started making prototypes for the next game.
Nice.
And not to mention, this whole, like, again, just like the Midway situation, I don't use the standard animating software. So, but like this whole time I was learning how to, like, they do their animation in Maya. I'm like, I'm gonna learn how to animate in Maya so that I can animate for the next project too. So I was a combined animator / combat designer, which in games that's apparently invaluable. In fact, there are very few people who do that because animators, they don't design; they just do what they're told.
Oh combat my God, design, you gotta get me a job.
combat designers design it out, but they gotta, the process is, all right, I have this move, I'm gonna write it up, this is what it's like. You go back and forth between you and an animator for a while, and then, however many months later, you've got your move, and then you start, tweaking it, tweaking the frames, figuring out what this move feels like. I could do both. I could say, I want this to be the move, and then I would make the move, and it would be in game within a few weeks. So it's like, that was super invaluable. It's like, I started making a prototype within a few months of the next game, and people were like, holy shit. It's like, this is going to be awesome because we're already ahead of the game. Afro 2 gets canceled because, sales were shit and stuff. And it's like, well, there we go. Other people are starting to look for new jobs. And I'm like, whatever, we'll just make a good game regardless of what the name is. We'll just make a good game. This engine's awesome. Let's not lose it. But we started losing programmers, and like the teams get shifted around, and like Splatterhouse needed some help. So I'm like, ultimately it led to like, okay, we all got to find new jobs. And it's like, okay, I guess I'll keep moving on. So exactly 1 year after I joined Namco, not exactly, maybe like a year and a half, I'm like, okay, I gotta find a new job, and that's where I'm at now. I'm at redversusblue.com making our next season. I've been here for a year, but it was a trend. For 3 years, I lived in 3 different states with 3 different jobs. It was crazy.
I don't suppose you're a family man.
Oh, no, I'm here by myself. I mean, right now I'm, doing the long distance thing with just my girlfriend, which is hard enough as it is. Yeah. But thankfully, we've been together for a long time, and we're just doing our thing. And I just gotta keep working. Honestly, I'm working on the next season of Red versus Blue. If you watched last season's season 8, think Red versus Blue plus Haloid. so like, it's no longer, if there needed to be some sort of level of action, it's not like a guy standing in a line and shooting. There's actually legitimate action. And so this year, as all things go, you take it to the next level. So I'm in the middle of making our project. And when you think about it, it's going to be almost entirely animated. I'm making an animated feature film solo, which is crazy. It's like a 2-hour film by myself, which after that's done, if I get it done, knock on wood, it's going to be pretty crazy to have people say, like, I made a movie by myself, which I always felt I could do if it was my day job, and now it is. So that's pretty cool,
That is awesome, man.
But the tough thing is, I'm trying to do that and get the next Dead Fantasy done at a reasonable time, and make more cosplay for my girlfriend because I just feel like doing that sort of thing, and other stuff. I want to make a fighting game. I want to make more Dead Fantasy. I want to make costumes. I want to do a whole shitload of shit.
Man, but I can't believe you want to make a fighting game and not like a third-person action game.
Oh well, no. I mean, I don't have an engine at my disposal, so I'm just gonna use Mugen. It's
especially with your experience, like, isn't it super fun to just make like really funny like bitch enemies, like the grunts in Halo?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Man. Absolutely. If you go play Afro Samurai right now, then you go fight the ninjas. There's a system I implemented. It's weird, you walk onto a team and suddenly you're implementing game systems. I implemented a system called active reactive combat.
Okay.
Where how like in most games where you see someone block, they take a single stance, and it's like you wail on them and they just hold that stance and they block.
Yeah.
I was designing a system where if the sword went to your right, the person blocked to your right. If the sword went high, the person blocked high, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Or they could dodge out of the way. So if you go watch Afro Samurai, honestly, some of the bosses and some of the enemies did this thing, dubbed the arc system, where they would block a sword based on the direction, and it actually looked really cool. It looked like a real sword fight, and that's my dream system right there. A game like Ryu does it a tad bit in Ninja Gaiden. Like if someone's firing bullets at him, his sword snaps to the position, so it looks like he's actually physically blocking it. Yeah. That could be fleshed out. Honestly, I think blocking in games hasn't. I mean, you do kickboxing, right?
Yeah. No, I totally know what you mean. Yeah.
Right.
I completely agree.
Blocking in games is boring because no one wants to make it interesting.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
It's like it's a default thing, but the truth is, it's just in real fights, blocking is just as, if not more important than actually being able to throw a punch.
Yeah.
Am I correct? So it's like, I could think of 1,000 ways to flesh out a blocking system to make a game interesting.
I was just writing one today.
Yeah?
Yeah.
God, see that's
yeah, because
cool,
like
man.
I really like combat, like in general, like not just in games, like in real life too, because but like the main difference I feel like, other than like, you know, physical pain, is like the fact is like eyesight and balance is a resource that people completely take for granted when they play simulated combat.
Oh, I just figured out how to rotate the camera. It's the triggers.
It's the triggers, yeah. Isn't that whack?
That's weird. What the hell?
Japanese designers don't care about anything else the rest of the world is doing, dude.
Right,
Just like,
right. Learn our system, get good at it. You know. But yeah. So like SF3, which I think I love way more than SF4. Even though I didn't play it, I just think its philosophy is much better.
Yeah.
You know.
Beautiful animation too.
I like parrying, but parrying. If I was gonna make a fighting game right now, it would have a parry system, but I would think you could parry what you have your high parry, your low parry, your jumping parry. I don't know. Why not be able to? King of Fighters 13. I was playing it for a bit. You can dash out of a parry. It's almost like or dash out of a block. I think it's like a focus cancel in a way. You can cancel a block with a dash, which is pretty cool. I think a running parry would be awesome. Imagine being able to run at a guy. They throw a fireball at you. You're like, fuck that shit, and you smack it out of the way, and you keep running. You know?
That's actually what I tried to do in hardcore, and I failed at it because you can't reflect while running in that game. Like, the hardcore uprising?
Oh, right.
Isn't that annoying? I hate that.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, back to hardcore uprising. They got like, I was just telling you this before we started recording, but they got like 6 moves attached to 6 functions attached to dash, right? Because the game wants you to level up in a way so that you speedrun and steamroller through the game. But it's like, why not just attach some of that to jump? Because you know you're gonna have to jump. And like, you press action button while you're dashing, and it's contextual. If you dash into a crate and you press action, you'll vault over it and have invincibility frames. If you run into a barrel and you press action, you'll kick it and it'll explode. You know, and if you run into and the thing is, you'll keep moving, you'll keep running forward.
Yeah, that's something that Damda and I said in the video. We were like, it seems like this game is designed to force us to stop moving all the time.
Right.
But until we get at stuff, right?
Yeah. So like, the thing that was kind of bumming out about your video was that you were 1 level away from having all that cool stuff, you know, which is kind of lame. That's the game's fault. It's not your fault. And like, I mean,
to be fair, we're bad at the game.
Another thing was there's action shot. I forget what it's called, but it's you press action while if you're dashing at a guy, you'll do an evasive like sidestep and shoot him from behind, which is one of the coolest moves ever. I know, right? And it's like, if once you're leveled up in that game, you run forward, hold down the fire button, because another thing you guys were saying during your last Casual Fridays, it's like, I wish auto fire was as fast as regular fire. You know, when you jam on it, when you it's like, that's just an ability you buy. So when you've bought a good amount of abilities, you can hold down the fire button, dash forward, and just jam on action button, and you're vaulting, dashing, tackling people, doing counterattacks, all while not stopping momentum, unless it's, you know, a pit or something you have to jump over, and it's fucking awesome. It's like such an adrenaline rush. That game is obviously designed for speed runs, and you know, I'd recommend it for anyone who wants to like feel like they're a badass at some point. But the downside of it, it's super grindy. I think for sake of just the fact that there aren't enough levels, the design is play level 1.
Force you to play them again.
Play level 1 over and over and over. Earn those millions and millions of CP, was it corporate points or whatever? And then suddenly you're buying all these awesome abilities. But yeah, it's like, not only that, it's like, okay, I want to play level 1 over and over and over again, but the interface doesn't even let you have to actually, you're forced to go to the next level. You can't just be like, do you want to try again? You know, and like start over. It's like you have to go back to the main title screen and select it again, which is hugely cumbersome.
Yeah.
But I have to thank you for getting me addicted to that game for the last 2 days.
I want to personally make an apology for anybody that was tricked into buying that game after watching the first part of our video and thinking that we were having fun playing that game.
No, see, that's the thing. I am having fun. It's just you just gotta get past that initial level. The thing I'm being sarcastic about is I'm supposed to be fucking working. So like I just made a commitment. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna blow through this game in 2 days and just get it out of my system before I have to go back and working on my videos. And it's like, okay, great. And it's so addicting. It's so fucking addicting. You know, you watch those points go up. Grinding is mad fun, which is one of the things I was missing in Ninja Gaiden 2. Right?
Yep.
You whip out the Vigorian flails, jump into that hallway, and just kill dudes for like an hour.
Yep. Oh man, I loved it. After you got 50 hit combo, the orbs start getting bigger, and they just stay that way.
I know. As far as design goes, it's going more towards the direction of like God of War, where it's like it's a linear thrill ride experience, and like I mean, not to say God of War isn't a good game. It's a great thrill ride, but I like games I can play over again. And the best thing I liked about Ninja Gaiden 1 is when I beat it, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna play again, and because I'm coming off of Devil May Cry, I'm like, and I'm gonna have all my stuff, and I'm gonna kick ass.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna get a second playthrough that's gonna be awesome. But the truth was, and then I'm like, wait, where's all my shit? I'm like, oh, this sucks. I gotta play again. But I'm like, I was smarter as a player the second time around.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And that was the best. That was, knowledge is half the battle or some shit like that. And like, that was the best aspect of the game, that you felt like a better player by the time you were playing it again.
Yeah.
That is great design. And that's kind of taken out from Ninja Gaiden 2, because Ninja Gaiden 1, it was kind of like Castlevania in a sense. You could retread areas.
Yeah. Farm the same enemies, yep.
Right? And if you ever felt like you were stuck, you knew where to go and through attrition, you could obviously level up and, get better that way. But Ninja Gaiden 2 has to be balanced in a sense that if you're here and you're not doing well enough, you just have to be at your A game 100% of the time, which is another fine way. Like, but
see, the thing is, like, when you mentioned the God of War games, like, I liked when God of War 1 came out and it had like the great use of QuickTime events and all that, and I was like, oh wow, this is really cool, like great animations, great effects, like it looks incredible for a PS2 game. And then but like it had a lot of the problems like that I find in action adventure games that like I detest, and I think they just get worse and worse as games go on. Like and you were talking about one of these before, was blocking. Blocking in God of War is so brainless. Like the defense in that game is so easy.
Yeah, and kidding, right?
It's like, what? And that's one of the things that I love about DMC1 over DMC3. Like DMC3, the first time through, everybody's recommended to play the Trickster, right? Of course. So you could basically say the first time through the game, you're playing Trickster, pretty much, or at least in the beginning.
Right.
And then so you get iframes in any direction you want with the Trickster dash.
Yep.
But in Devil May Cry 1, that's not true. You have to do the evasive roll.
Right,
First of all, that means that you need to be locked on, because that's the control. You need to lock on.
Yep.
So that means and then the evasive roll can only be done in 2 cardinal directions of your character. So you need to be super in tune with where your character was looking.
Right.
And then that just makes this relationship with you and your avatar that's so intimate and so in control. You feel so amazing doing it.
Yeah.
And then actually in Afro Samurai, that actually there was something in that game that I liked a lot too, was the system of like the little glint of light on your sword. If you time your attack with it, then you get the better damage or whatever.
Right.
Like I love that stuff, that it forces you to actually look at the graphics.
Right.
Like in Devil May Cry 1, you have to look where Dante's looking. In Afro Samurai, you're incentivized to look at the sword.
Right.
And I hate games like Metal Gear Solid, although I love Metal Gear Solid. Like Metal Gear Solid, especially 1 and 2, you can play by looking at the minimap the entire time.
That is absolutely true. It is so true. It's like, why not just play the minimaps?
Yeah.
And like, that's what I love about Ninja Gaiden. And it's become less and less over time, because people's biggest complaint, it's a hard game. It's a hard game. It's like, it's because people don't know how to play it, right?
Well, the thing is, it's fair though, because the game doesn't teach you how to play it.
That's exactly what I say, right? It's like, you ever watch someone play Halo or any FPS, and they're looking at the ground or the sky, and you're like, man, this guy obviously doesn't know how to play an FPS.
I love that you're saying that right now, because I'm bugging out and it looks like your avatar is just running straight into the corner.
Oh, really? That's funny.
Anyway, continue.
But like, you look at that. If you look at someone's screen and they're looking at the ground or the sky and running, you're like, that person obviously doesn't know how to play an FPS, right?
Right.
It's like, that's how I feel when I see people play Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah.
right? They don't know how to block. They don't know how to use it in conjunction with the dive. They don't know how to land charge, or instant
the
charge.
on landing UT. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's more systems at once, or it's more systems that you have to learn. But it's like once you learn it, it's not that hard. And then, people are saying, people who I've seen play it, it's like, why can't I block this versus this? It's like, that's what makes it fun. You have to keep an eye out for the telegraph,